Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Saturday the 12th of whatever the fuck the month is. August 2017.
Starting it off with some dirty language. Starting as we need to go on.
Well, I mean...
First sentence.
Yeah, well, that's Rob Kent there who's joining me.
First sentence.
And also eating some cake is Zachary Burgess.
Because apparently Rob couldn't wait like 20 more seconds to finish eating this cake.
No.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get some live cake action, you know, add a bit of flavour to this podcast.
There's some weird stuff going on with the head of your beer.
I know, look at it.
Is it a head? Does it count as a head if it's in a bottle?
I suppose. It's got like a quaff. It's like...
Yeah, it's a full-on, like...
What do they call that?
What's
What's that like rock and roll hairstyle where it becomes like a tube?
Well, it's like a form of quiff, isn't it? But not just a standard.
The tube, yeah.
Yeah, it's very...
You normally associate with like American greaser kids.
Teddy Boy 50s.
Yeah.
Fosters. Do they actually drink that in Australia? Probably not.
Fosters. No, they drink Castlemaine.
Is that right?
No, I don't know. That's what the adults. That's what the adults say.
That's what the adults say.
That's what the adverts tell
I have to ask my Australian friends at work what they actually drink.
What, mate? Budweiser, probably. Because it's everywhere. Adnams.
Adnams?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Carling.
I don't know if they exported that far. Where was that brewed? Birmingham?
I'm going to go with like Manchester, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see if we can find out.
Who was right? Wow.
Brewed in... It just says UK.
Ah.
That's no good.
No.
Well, it depends if it's actually brewed at Heineken UK here, which is its registered address. It's actually brewed by Heineken in Edinburgh.
Probably not, though. But who knows?
It's probably just the head office of Foster's.
Right, this is the Soundcast.
This is the beer cast.
We are here together in the Switch.
In the Switch?
On Rob's not-so-new comfy sofa,
Yeah.
which is a significant upgrade, in my opinion.
And it's already far too hot in here. Because
It's
you
not that
barely had
bad.
the windows open earlier.
It's just a hot day, man.
It's not that hot.
It's not that hot. How hot is it?
It was pretty hot this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where you were running it
I
up?
ran around 7 miles before you two woke up. Ha!
20. Yeah, it's not too... Yeah, I did well. I managed to sleep through all that running.
In fairness to you, you woke up at a reasonably sensible hour of about midday as opposed to like 2 o'clock.
Midday is the time.
Still sort of just morning, maybe.
Yeah. It's because I had to play some Zelda before I got up.
All right, I'll do it.
Yeah, anyway.
It's a part of your routine, caffeine and Zelda.
Well, yeah. I would say so. Not on work days, though. Then it's just caffeine and work. But on non-work days, caffeine and Zelda.
No tube Zelda.
No tube Zelda. I've not done that. In fact, this is the first time I've taken my Switch very far, really.
Outside. But you're the one with the fancy case.
I bought that so I could take it here. This is the first time
Oh,
I've
really?
used it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
It's quite a nice case.
well, I think it's like the official-ish. Well, it has the logo on, but it's the Hori case or whatever.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah.
Pretty decent. I think it's just grabbing it there, listeners. It's got quite a lot of padding going on. I don't know if it's all necessary. I mean, this flap has space for little things for games, which is quite good.
jars.
But then I guess you could keep. But it seems like it's got quite a lot. I guess it's for the.
Oh, I see. The
sticks.
actual the little game flap is actually just to, I don't know, I guess protect the screen
Hand it a
and the
bit.
games, and then leave enough room for the sticks.
Yeah. I guess
That's
so.
actually relatively smart.
Yeah, it's quite decent.
Because it makes less sense
Sound
when they.
effects.
Yeah. Because, I don't know, my DS case is here, and I'm pretty sure. Well, my old DS case for the original DS had like a flappy bit in it for no reason at all, right? Because those things were clamshells. Ish. No,
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
See, look, why? Why not just have my games there?
It's
Oh, it's the
easier to
same.
make it like that.
It's the same manufacturer as that one.
Yeah.
It's probably easier to just like sew an extra flap into the hinge rather than having to like sew the pocket onto the back of the actual.
I mean,
case.
maybe it is just scratch protection, right? So, like if your cartridges were on the lid, could they?
Yeah, I guess.
jiggle about on the actual surface of the DS.
It's interesting how much bigger 3DS cartridges are compared to Switch cartridges.
Yeah. Well, they're all just flash cards, right?
Yeah, but this has got quite a lot of plastic around it. I suppose it's for kids and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're all for kids. I mean, that's like half the size. Well, not half, but
Well, the Switch is... The
two-thirds the size.
Switch.
Switch.
The Switch is a little less kid-centric, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so.
Given its price tag and heft.
Yes.
I mean, the 3DS cartridges were still, for backwards compatibility, they were as big as the DS cartridges.
Sure. Yeah, they're exactly the same, aren't they?
Oh, right, I see. Yeah.
Just with the nodule on the side to prevent you from putting them in a DS.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
The little catch.
Convenient.
3DS! It's a dying platform. Or is it? Given that they...
Nintendo doesn't want you to fix it.
No.
Well, maybe the 3DS is. 2DS 3DS is done. 2DS might be okay.
2DS has returned with its sort of slightly cheap
Yeah, the 2DS XL.
2DS XL, which seems to be the one to get right now.
The non 3D new 3DS with
Yep.
the classic clamshell design.
Sounds perfect. I mean, I don't know anyone with a 3DS that doesn't turn the 3D off.
Well, I mean, everyone turns it off at some point, but I do use mine.
Really?
That's
Yeah,
what you're playing.
yeah. Like it's completely useless in Layton, for instance. I mean, it's there, but
What do
it
you
works.
turn it up for?
I'm trying to think. When I was playing, I think I had it on permanently when I was playing Mario, like Mario's new Super Mario Bros. 2.
Oh, yeah.
It was on all the time.
That's kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, but well, it's quite nice actually because all the Mario stuff happens at like basically screen plane. So like you're not doing crazy stuff with your eyes to see that. It's only stuff in the background and foreground that gets the nice effect, and it's not too heavy.
So how long until we get Mario Maker on Switch?
I bet not long.
I think they haven't announced anything. though.
No.
I mean, but we've
Then
got,
again, it took them quite a while from announcement. Like after Super Mario Maker came out on Wii U, it took them quite a while to put the 3DS version out.
that's true.
And then when they put that version out, and everyone said this is stupid.
Mm. Yeah, they have to not fall into that trap and make it decent. But they got the problem that the touchscreen only works in portable mode.
It's
And-
not a problem.
And without a
I'm
stylus.
sure they'll just make it work.
And it's not stylus happy, is it? You need a special...
It doesn't matter for Mario Maker because you can easily fat finger a tile.
I guess.
That's true.
It's a lock-on grid.
Yeah, that is true.
I think a bit of me would like a stylus for that, though. I don't think you need... I think you're right. I don't think you need it, but I think I'd like it. Then again, I have got one of those, like, pens that's got, like, a rubbery tip on it.
I need to get one of those just
Yeah.
for, like, basically using an iPad in the kitchen when you're cooking. So you don't get crap all over your screen.
Because my laptop's got a stylus.
Your Surface.
No, my laptop,
Oh.
my ThinkPad,
Oh,
has a stylus.
weird.
So I wonder if its tip actually works, or if it's using some other tech to run it.
Yeah. I could get an Apple Pencil, but I don't think I could be bothered.
Hmm.
They're a bit dumb. I don't think I'd use it. Yeah.
But I'm trying to think. Does the pencil have any buttons on it, or does it like?
It might have one
Or
button.
does it like flip? Can you? I suppose it must have the classic flip to be an eraser thing, right? That if it was, would they call it a pencil?
I don't know. It probably does, yeah.
It's a stupid name of an old technology that they want to invoke. Just like they always do. Notebooks. And...
Yeah.
Well, they used to. They don't so much anymore.
Mm.
The skeuomorphism isn't as much of a thing.
No, Johnny Ive sorted that. He was like, I hate this shit.
Make it all white.
Exactly. Make everything just disappear into a field of whiteness, like this room that I inhabit forever.
Yeah. I enjoy the void. It doesn't insult me on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of sofas that you sit on and they seem comfy at first, but they don't have a high enough back that you can actually rest your head against.
That was exactly why we went for this.
Yes.
That was the number one
That's
purchasing
basically
requirement.
what you want.
That
Yeah.
was the number one purchasing requirement was
Head
yeah.
support when fully lounged.
Yeah.
It's ideal.
It's not like at least when I'm sat on it properly, it's not head support that keeps my head level. So
No.
I'm still looking down at the telly, but at least I'm not like at
Yeah.
a 90-degree
Yeah.
angle to the rest of my body, staring at the sky.
Yeah, that's good. That's what you want. But it doesn't look weird when you look at it. It doesn't look like the back is ridiculously high.
No. Well, it's only like, I'd say about half a foot taller than the other one.
Yeah.
It's not much.
Oh, it's way better than the other one.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, every aspect of this couch is better, other than the rounded arms. It's like, I think I would have liked square arms.
Right, just for cat purposes? Or?
Well, the cat purpose is nice, but it's also like, I used to just have the remotes all stashed here.
Right.
Like,
You actually use the arm to place things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have like the remotes, and you could balance the controllers on it without fear of them kicking them off.
That's true.
Which is a clear and present danger now.
Mr. President, we have a clear and present danger.
Our Xbox controller is
It's about to fall. No!
Alright, grammar check. I've got a question for you.
I don't know.
Oh, this is going to be great.
We don't know grammars.
Well, it's more of a spelling check.
Oh dear. Even worse.
Probably worse.
So, I saw a bumper sticker the other day on like a crappy old... it was either like a Fiesta or a Clio or something like that. But an old one. And it had a sticker on the back that said, "My other car... Oh no, when I grow up, I'm going to be a limo." But limo was spelt with 2 M's. And I thought
No.
I don't think that's right.
No, I don't think that's right.
Unless it's referencing something else. Not actually just a limo.
I think it's just wrong, though, isn't it?
Limo.
Limo.
What, do they think it would be limo with only 1 M? Or...
It's definitely... A limo is short for limousine.
Yeah, which has 1 M.
M. Yeah.
A limo.
We are from the band Limousine.
There's the car that's parked in front of mine where I parked is a Nissan X-Trail.
Right.
And above where it says X-Trail on the back, it has a little skull. And I thought they would go for skull and crossbones, except it's not over the X. It's just like in the middle of where it says X-Trail. I was like, well, that's kind of weak.
Well, this sounds Skulks Trail.
Why would you put a skull on that car specifically and there on that car?
A pirate car.
Because you're so anarchic, you're not going to fall into the whole pirate thing. It's like it wasn't
even a sticker. It was like a properly like the text. It was a little sticky out chrome, not actually chrome, shiny plastic thing.
Weird.
All right, that's slightly more effort than I was expecting. Actually, with like a car badge skull.
That's a bit weird.
Not just a decal.
Like a totem
I mean,
type
it could theoretically be
SS
like
symbol.
official, maybe. Maybe that's like the extreme version of the X-Trail. To make it even more extreme, you have to have a skull, because you can't just have another X.
What, the extreme version of the extreme trail?
Yes.
Extreme trailing. From Nissan. What's the correct pronunciation is Nissan, isn't it, weirdly?
I don't actually know.
But we just say
Japanese
Nissan
is.
in this country.
Yeah.
Nissan.
Yeah, they say it differently in America, and probably differently again where they're actually from.
Nissan. I can see that being accurate.
Yeah,
Nissan.
Nissan.
It's like... Yeah, it's like you're referring to a person called Ni. The knights that say Ni, Sam.
Ni.
Nissan. Oh, but then that's Nissan. Oh.
Oh.
This one falls apart. Alright, grammar confirmed. Your bumper sticker is stupid.
It's definitely spelling, though.
Spelling.
I didn't see anything wrong with the grammar, particularly.
Okay, yeah, good point. Well, the grammar check passed. Spelling check failed.
You didn't want to be an limo.
And limo.
I have that problem with an historian.
Mm.
Yeah.
Classic.
No, wait, but that's right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And historic is correct.
Yeah, and historic day.
Yeah.
But Zach, you historically disagreed with that.
What?
And a
I
sign.
think. Wasn't it you?
No.
And there's a
Say
sign.
ahistoric.
No.
Oh.
Well, no.
Sure you
The
did.
reason we originally brought this up was because there's a signpost, I think, on the way to Woodbridge that says ahistoric.
Right.
And I'm like, but that's wrong.
Are we in agreement then? Oh, that's
Yeah.
weird.
No,
I
I think
thought we were in conflict over that.
I think for once we actually have this right.
Wow. An historic day.
For the Saladcast. Not only do we agree on the spelling of limo.
A momentous occasion.
Exactly. Not Anne.
Yeah.
My name is Anne Momentous. I'm Anne Momentous.
My name's Anne. Anne Momentous.
Anne Historique. I'm trying to think. I'm sure I heard a good egg calling the other day, but I've forgotten it. I've forgotten it.
Acorns.
Cool story, bro. Yeah. What's been happening?
What's going on, Zane? Why are you looking out the window?
Because it's there. Why is it wandering out?
There's a window here. It's appropriate to look out the windows when they're available.
And there is light.
You can look out when it's dark if you want. You can't really see much.
Is this part of the challenge? Like, if I look through this window long enough in the darkness, I will see something, maybe, and gain an achievement for night vision.
It's meteors, as always, because it's August.
What, seeing lots of meteors?
Yeah,
It's August
Why does
just
that happen
meteor
in
season.
August?
because there's a comet trail that we go for every year that still has meteors in it, I guess. You'd think they would have run out by now. I mean, that's been going on since as long as I can remember. I mean, I guess that's only like 10 to 15 years, but you'd think after you've gone around once, the Earth would have eliminated that chunk of the trail.
I suppose.
Scraped it out.
But I guess the trail is also moving, so I guess maybe that.
Yeah, the trail.
But do the trails from comets, which direction do they move? Do they actually spew out the back, or are they like travelling forwards with it, just slower?
Yeah, I would assume they're still on the same orbit, essentially.
If they're travelling slower, they couldn't be.
Well, not exactly the same orbit. Like a really similar orbit. It's just like Kerbal, where when something explodes, all the parts more or less go in the same orbit, except not.
I suppose.
Useful scientific data for Kerbal, as always.
Yeah. Do you have to dodge your own space junk after a while in Kerbal?
Well, no, because it's like space, and space is really big.
Huge, yeah. It's quite
It
unlikely.
would take a very long time. I mean, it would take less time in Kerbal for that to become a problem, because it's a lot smaller than real life.
But you do well to launch as many satellites as the human race does.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you reckon anyone's actually managed to create the film Gravity in Kerbal? And have it so there's like a high speed moving debris field.
It doesn't really work in Kerbal because everything past 2.5 kilometers away doesn't really have physics.
No.
So you can't really create a cascade beyond your very local area.
What, so the debris field wouldn't orbit? If you're...
Well, it would orbit, it just wouldn't be able to collide with itself or anything that wasn't where you exactly were.
Oh, sure, but if you managed to... Oh, I see. Right, yeah, because you wouldn't be able to make it multiply with all your satellites. So you went to the effort of making the GPS system in Kerbal, for instance, and flew hundreds of missions. Pointless.
I don't think you need hundreds of missions for the GPS system in Kerbal because the planet's so small you can get away with a lot fewer satellites.
If you're being accurate, I suppose.
Although geostationary orbit in Kerbal, if I remember rightly, is kind of high compared to the size of the planet. So it's actually you actually have to spend a lot of fuel to get there. I mean, that's true in real life as well, I guess.
That is true in real life, yeah.
It seems a lot further in Kerbal.
Can you make your craft stabilize so they stay perfectly geostationary? Or is it just...
I think you probably could, but I'm not sure if you could do it manually. You need to use one of the tool assisted modes.
Like a mod.
Yeah, one of the mods. To get the very precise orbital speed you'd need to keep it exactly where it's meant to be. And that's something that would be different in Kerbal, because in real life nothing ever stays in the same place forever.
There was a stupid story in BBC News the other day, which was man in rural Wales gets broadband from Africa.
Yep.
And what it actually meant was it was from a geostationary satellite that was over Africa. And of course it was over Africa because Africa is where the equator is.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with Africa. It was a direct line of sight from the satellite to his satellite dish.
It's that's how everything satellites work.
Exactly, you idiots. So that was really stupid.
Did we talk about it on the Saladcast that one time I saw an article, I think it might have been in Gnome's favourite newspaper, The Guardian, about a guy discovering that you don't have to buy lunch every day. And it being like a revelation that you can make your own sandwiches and save a whole lot of money.
What?
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, you do technically still have to buy lunch.
I know.
Not at lunchtime.
Sorry, it wasn't The Guardian. This was actually on BBC News on the website. And I couldn't figure out if it was a joke or not because it wasn't April Fool's or anything like that. But it was written so sincerely that it's like, my amazing technique for saving money. Make sandwiches or buy the ingredients. Not
to
the
be
sandwich.
fair, in London that can save you a fuck ton of money.
Don't get me wrong. He's not wrong, but it's not an amazing new technique.
No.
I'm pretty sure the rest of civilization
has
does
had that forever. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it was so funny. The comment thread for that was most of the time. Comment threads for news stories are the worst place imaginable, but this one was pretty entertaining. Because I think for once, there was a single opinion in the comments thread.
The metropolitan elite, I don't know.
I didn't know this was a thing. You can buy just cheese. It doesn't have to be between breads.
You can buy the cheese and only eat cheese for lunch. That's much better.
Wow.
Could eat just cheese.
Amazing.
Probably could subsist on cheese.
He's the type of person that probably would look at those individual craft singles or something and think, well, they've had to extract that from the bread somehow. Like some kind of like the bread is just a slag in the...
Great. Oh dear.
And that's where we get both the cheese and bread individuals. Not that you sell individually wrapped slices of bread.
One day. That would be like the next step of ridiculous sandwich assembly is just selling each individual ingredient. So you can be like, I want this very specific kind of bread, but I only want this filling and this like spread or whatever.
Oh, I 100% guarantee that M&S will do that. Like they'll just have like the
3D
naked
printing sandwich machines, basically.
Yeah, they'll call it like the naked sandwich or something. Like make it sound fancy. And
they could have a sandwich printer. I reckon you could do that.
Well, they could just have a sandwich assembly machine.
That's what I mean.
But like not 3D printing the bread out of like yeast.
No. But you could brand it as a printer, even though it was basically an assembly machine. But just have it so you can just keep adding toppings with or not toppings, but insides. What do you call them? Fillings. Yeah, fillings, that's the word. With the touchscreen. And you can just keep going before you decide to add the bread on top. Or you can add a club layer of bread, in the middle.
And then it would just squash it.
And then it squashes it at the end.
Yeah, you need a very
but
delicate
keeps it
squash.
tight. Yeah.
But I wonder how it measures how many fillings you can put on it. Is it like, do you get charged per filling? Or does
keep paying.
Well, yeah, but no, but surely you get to a point where it's like, okay, I don't have a box that this can fit in. Like the machine, the machine needs to be able to somehow squish the sandwich into a box.
Well, that's where the vacuum wrapping costs.
Yeah,
just seal it up and then be like, if you're going to make a horrible mess, you can deal with that once you can unwrap it.
You just cellophane it or something. Or you just use the same material they use to wrap pizzas in Asda.
Yeah.
That sort of heat stuff.
Yep, I think a sandwich machine would do well.
Sandwiches by robots.
Except not really, because it would get incredibly gross almost immediately.
Yeah, it'd have to have a special...
Because then having all those like fresh ingredients in there, they'd have to be like, just... Most of them would be pre-cut, but maybe, I'm not sure you'd be able to get away with having like pre-cut tomatoes or whatever.
Well, yeah, what if you get like a fairly loose filling, like if you cut up like onions or bits of pepper or something, and it tries to sprinkle it on the top of your sandwich, will that actually work, or does everything come as like some conjoined slab or something? Like you've just created a perfect, like a craft single is to cheese, you've just created like a slab of pepper somehow.
The most gross sandwich.
Yeah, most processed. Because like, I don't know, a slab of ham is the easy bit, right? But what if you wanted like Branston pickle in there? Like, do you have to create like it's where the like brown bit of the like the brown bit of bread? So every part,
all those brown bits.
the where the the actual sauce bit of Branston pickle is just like jellified, or
Maybe they could make it so that all the more liquidy ingredients come frozen, and then it thaws it out real quick. So
that's not a terrible
just lays
idea.
in a slab of pickle, like a slab of butter, and it just heats it real fast.
Sounds terrible.
I guess for some of the ingredients, it's like if it sliced it thinly enough, then they wouldn't be so much of a problem. Like so it just gets a pepper and just sort of goes to cut very thin slices of it. But then I guess you wouldn't get that crunch.
You can grind pepper. That's not a problem. It's more the tomato
Different
problem.
kind of pepper.
Oh yeah, not black pepper.
Oh,
Like-
you mean bell pepper type? Yeah.
Yeah, the black pepper would be nice. You don't have to put a slab of black pepper in
No.
there. Or worse, what if you put a slab of salt?
Yeah.
I guess you could like get around that by having like salted condiments or seasoned condiments. Like I don't want just mayonnaise. I want a slightly salt and peppered mayonnaise. Because Hellmann's provide that. There you go. You've got your brand synergy. You can have like Hellmann's peppered mayonnaise as an option. Peppered. Or maybe that's how they get away with that stuff. They just use condiments which have got the flavour of onion in it. Or maybe this entire idea is quite flawed.
Basically, we're at the point where everything in the sandwich is just paste.
Yeah.
every flavour is just on a different layer of
I
paste.
see why it has to be so hard to
Oh,
make
if you
it
want
normally.
if you want pate or a chocolate spread sandwich, that's nice and easy. I guess the worst thing is like, what if something goes a bit awry in the sense that you've splattered some chocolate spread or something on the last sandwich, but perhaps the machine applied a little too much, so when it squidged it, like you got a little bit of spillage down the sides. So when you're making the next sandwich, does the layer of bread that gets placed on the plate?
No, you'd
No.
have to build the sandwich inside the container.
Yeah.
And then close the container it was already in.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. So there, designed. Roll code, get to work.
Yeah.
I think it's time for the news.
The lunch chuffer.
Because he didn't want to call it the lunch factor. Even though we know that's what they're all doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would be.
Or sandwich
I
factor.
just put chuffer in my head sounded funny for some reason. That particular occasion. Lunch chuffer. The double use of the CH. Chuffer. Lunch. You'd say it like blind to date. You'd say the lunch chuffer. Sandwich slabs. Robo Widge.
Robo what?
Robo Widge.
Widge?
Which,
It's just the WICH part of sandwich.
Oh, which?
Robo Widge.
Which?
Widge.
Sandwich. It's a sandwich machine. Or just widges.
Widge wedge.
Widge wedge.
It's a widge wedge.
Which wedge? Build a wedge. Build a BAP. The Build a BAP workshop. The BAP station.
Crab station.
Auto BAP.
Yeah, automat.
Auto BAP.
Like an automat, but for bats.
No, I'm out. I'm out of sandwich shop names. Let's get filled.
Let's get filled.
Fill her up sandwich emporium. But then we're getting away from the fact that it's like, what? How do you got to get the USP in there somewhere? You got to get the robot sandwich machine part of the name.
Fill her up robo sandwich for you.
Fill up robo sandwich.
Well, that's rolls off the tongue. That
Yeah. I was trying to think of a way of turning vending machine into like sandwich, like just the sandwich machine. Is there no word for sandwich that's not like roll based?
What? As in, has the word roll in or
Well, yeah, well,
Based on roll-shaped
there isn't like
sandwiches.
made of bats. Like there's actually just normal sandwich.
normal sandwich? Not that I'm aware of.
Something to do with subs, maybe.
Yeah, but submarine roll is a
Yeah,
roll.
it's still a roll. And
Sarnie.
Sarnie. Well, there was Arnie's Sarnies in Ipswich.
Yep.
They had the logo on the window that said, "I'll be BAP." They did that.
Makes sense.
And then got sued out of existence.
Well, I'm pretty sure we also had Back to the Future in Ipswich at one point. Might have been the same place. Yeah, no, I'm out.
Was it?
I'm out.
I'll be back. Did they just have "You'll be back" as a slogan as well?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll be back sounds funny. I'm Arnold. What do you want on your sandwich?
9mm.
9mm bullet.
Bullets on it.
Sweet God.
You want broccoli? Shut up with the broccoli. Okay.
Moving on.
Time for news.
News!
What's going on, Rob?
What's going on? I'm going to look over my shoulder and I'm going to tell you what's going on.
Because you can't have that note any closer than that.
Corrections column. It's correction. We got back
That was the
correction.
That was the question called music.
Last time Rob made another dumb noise. Here's the one he meant to make.
Yeah. We sort of said Fortnite was out. It's only kinda out.
I don't think we did say it was out, but okay.
I think we might have done.
I talked about how they'd already put it up for sale.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still technically early access and isn't out till next year. Technically.
Yes, and that's why it was weird that it was up for sale, as well as being free to play.
Well, yeah, it's paid early access, but I guess that's no different from normal. But I guess free to play games have done that in the past, where it's like we're not quite ready for prime time, but you can pay to play it now. So yeah, that was my one correction. Other than to that guy's limousine spelling. There we go. Next.
End of corrections.
Let's talk about Hellblade, which is Ninja Theory's new game. But the only reason I want to bring this up is like it seems like it's a pretty good game. It's getting fairly good critical reviews. Yada yada yada. I will probably play it at some point.
We'll be playing it because
I
we'll hear about it on the cast.
Because I like Ninja Theory and what they do. But the good thing about this game is it's a AAA release, effectively, but it's half the price of a regular AAA game.
Why is that?
Well, it turns out they had a bit of a mission statement for this that I don't think they made known until like it sort of just dropped, and everyone was like, "Wait, what? It's come out, and it's like $30 in the US and £25 here instead of the normal 60-50." And yeah, they were basically like, "Well, we streamlined the experience, so it didn't end up being very long, effectively. So it's like we didn't feel comfortable like selling it at full price. So they were like, yeah, so we made it a slightly shorter game, but with AAA standards. So here you go, half price.
Nice.
It's just like I just think that's a real. I don't know. That's not really the done thing in the industry, I guess.
No, the thing is to make stuff super long and charge like full price.
Yeah, or like have to find ways of padding it. In order to perhaps justify the price a little more, and they were like, "No, we don't want to do that. We're just going to put it out."
Or they came up with a reason for running out of time in development and now just having to put it out.
Well, no, because apparently it is quite. It's exactly that. It's a very focused idea, and like it's not even by their own description. Though I don't think it's like I don't think you call it like a super short game. It's like. So some people are claiming that on hard mode it will take you about 8 hours, and I think I've read somewhere where some people have managed to get through normal difficulty in 4 on the first run. But so it's that little bit shorter. But it seems like the majority of people end up spending about 6 hours on it, and it's like that's probably longer than a Call of Duty campaign.
True. You get a lot of value in a Call of Duty, though, don't you?
As long as you're into the other components, yeah.
Definitely. You'd be crazy to buy Call of Duty at this point just for the single player.
Sure.
Definitely, you'd be nuts.
Although I might do that for the World War II game.
No, it won't be that good. It doesn't look that good. Maybe it'll be alright.
I don't think it's impossible to tell whether it looks good or not at this point, because it looks like World War II.
Yeah. I don't know, like just something about that story trailer, teaser or whatever, put me off.
Haven't they all they really done just show little snippets of speech that you can't really put together, and some things exploding.
Yeah.
So how can you tell anything from that? It's like it's like a Japanese trailer.
The speechy stuff and the way it's like really, I don't know. seem like a very, I don't know, different to the old Call of Duty. Like, very American focused, which is fine, I guess.
That's to be expected, I guess.
Well, not in the original Call of Duty you would have British segments and Russian segments and all kinds of stuff.
Well,
they were actually more than the American stuff.
Sure, but then that was when Call of Duty was a single-player focused experience. If you know what I mean, they put way more effort into that comparatively.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I think for given Call of Duty's criticisms for not having cohesive narratives over the year, they're like, we're just going to tell one storyline, and not jump about all over the place. Which I'm fine with that. That's if it makes a better, believable, followable story rather than little. You're now going to do this campaign. You're now going to do this campaign. They don't really add up to a whole. Then I'm all right with that. I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a bit disappointing that they went with the Americans, but of course they would.
Yeah, fair enough, I suppose.
It would have been better to have the Brits, obviously. But
well, but they always do the Brits really comically.
Oh yeah,
anyway,
it would have been.
Yeah.
It would have been that sort of cliched Brit.
Yeah.
But then they could have had an excuse to make this be the ancestor of one of the other Call of Duty British guys.
Price.
Oh, what, really? Yeah.
To make Price another soap or something.
Well, Price was in the World War II Call of Duty, wasn't he? Or Call of Duty
technically, but as a name.
As a name,
it's not like he
had the moustache and everything.
Well, yes, but that's because he was British.
Oh yeah, of course.
Price was in it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there were some Brits, weren't they, in COD 4? Wasn't Price?
Yeah, it was SAS. Most of COD 4. It was
Yeah.
mostly British, wasn't it?
Up until the sequels. And then they started branching out a bit more.
Yeah, but COD 4 was, quite a lot of soap was obviously Scottish. And then it was mostly the SAS stuff. The American thing was the infantry, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, and all the tank missions
and then they
night missions.
And then they got nuked, spoiler alert.
Oh, there was that as well. Yeah. There was that small detail.
That was cool.
So it's technically it's already happened, but they could do it again.
Yeah.
They might just do that anyway in this one, where it's just the American team that you're playing comes across as some British guys for a minute.
Probably. I mean, those are Infinity War characters, though. I don't think they...
Well, I don't know. The robot seems like the coolest character in the Infinity War thing. Everyone likes a sarcastic robot.
Yeah.
That just happened to be French this time.
So many sarcastic robots.
Wait, wasn't the robot in Binary Domain also French?
Yeah.
They might have nicked it.
No, I think in Binary Domain you could have had more than one French.
Yeah. Because wasn't it... Oh, I thought the one in Infinity was also French. I can't remember. I didn't actually play it in the end. But French robots are cool. I hope it's good because, I think I think a good World War II campaign in the modern era of gaming
would be good.
Could go down pretty well.
Yeah, if it's
because Battlefield 1 didn't land it with its campaign. It was okay, but it didn't really capture the spirit, I don't think.
Well, it's because the whole game is nothing like actual World War.
No, yeah. And the little vignettes, they had the same problem, right? The little vignettes tried to tell little stories, which is fine, but you don't really get invested in the whole. You're just like, oh, that's done. Moved on. Oh, COD. Somehow we talked about COD.
Even though you talk about Ninja Theory.
Yeah. Oh, I can't read it from this distance.
Where's your iPad?
Esports. I mean, we've been watching the Gfinity stuff, right? Yeah, and that seems okay. Well done, you, Gfinity, for making a watchable esports program available to the masses. Congrats. It's actually being considered as an Olympic event. Having just been thrown out repeatedly over the last few attempts, it's now they're actually thinking about it.
Well, that would be dumb.
Yeah, it's kind of weirdly not in I'm sort of with you on this one. It's not really in the spirit of the Olympics.
I don't even like when they have golf at the Olympics. That's stupid. Or chess. Chess in the Olympics. I think it has been in the Olympics.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Dumb.
Like once or something. Yeah, I'm sort of with you. I don't know because it's not. I know it's a bit, in a weird way, it's a bit reductive, but the Olympics is about, I don't know, in my head, it's about physical prowess.
Definitely. I agree.
And while one can argue that your dexterity with a controller is a form of physical prowess, I don't get it.
It's like how much
you don't really see the dexterity, do you, in an esport?
Yeah, but now you're running into the classic problem of Olympic shooting.
But that is physical. That's still physical.
How is that? That's barely more physical than holding a controller. Barely.
You have to point the thing.
Yeah, you have to point the thing. You have to. There's a real life.
But in actual fact, when you're doing like the pistol shooting, you're probably moving less than if you're using a controller because you have to hold it incredibly still.
But then that's a skill in itself that you wouldn't get with a controller because you could just not push the buttons.
Using a controller is a skill in itself that you wouldn't get from holding a gun. This is the problem. Once you're going down the route of how physical is physical.
I still think they're very different things. The ability to stay perfectly still and line up a pistol shot is very different from being able to waggle the left stick.
Yeah, I agree.
It's still equally a skill, and it's still equally not much actual physical activity.
Nobody watches the pistol shooting. But regardless, I still think that's a slightly different thing.
Sounds like an argument to take out shooting from the Olympics as well.
Yeah, you know what? In fairness, it's like I feel bad because it's like the one place pistol shooting probably gets its spotlight. But yeah, unless you make it interesting and make it, I don't know, like super hot or like have like a quick fire contest or something.
Dude, that's half of the pistol shooting is the quick fire.
All I've ever seen on TV is the one where they stand perfectly still for ages and then eventually pull a trigger to try and get like a bullseye. That was all I've ever seen.
They do like 6 in a row. It's just like pap, 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 pap. They do it super fast.
Well, that's way more physical though. That's way more cool.
Not really. I mean, the
like
shooting only gets cool once you get to the bigger guns. When you're doing actual like rifles, I mean not actual rifles, they're still air rifles. Oh, the shotguns, of course, that's sort of a different thing.
Clay shooting, that's a proper sport.
The only interesting one that actually is about shooting is when you get to the Winter Olympics and you get the cross-country skiing and shooting combo.
The skeet is cool. It's such a dumb sport, but it's cool.
It's not called skeet.
It's not. I thought that was
skeet is just another version of clay pigeon shooting.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was the whole point. That's why it was skeet, because you like.
No, it's not because it's a combination of ski and something. No, it's not. I forget what it's actually
sure
called.
That's what it actually was.
I'm pretty sure that's wrong.
I think it's just called a biathlon, isn't it, in the Winter Olympics? Because it's skiing and shooting, and those are the two
sports,
things.
Yeah, biathlon. Right.
Might be now, but I'm pretty sure that's where it was years and years and years ago.
It was not called skeet.
Skeet, because like in my head, it's skeet shooting.
Yeah,
was what it was called. So
that's right.
You're shooting
form
skeets.
of shooting. Yeah.
I think the skeets are a different version of clay pigeons.
But then why have it at the Winter... This is the bit I don't understand. Why have it at the Winter Olympics if it's just shooting?
It's not. They don't. What are you talking about?
They don't have
But you just said it's just a shooting event.
The skeet is.
Skeet shooting.
Yeah, so why is that a winter?
It's not.
Isn't.
That's not an Olympic event in any way.
Oh, you didn't clarify that.
Yeah, it's not. Biathlon is, which is skiing and shooting. But I don't know if it's skiing and skeet shooting. That would be too much of a
No, it's target shooting.
Target shooting, yeah. I think so.
They have to lay down in the snow.
Ah. Is it to
Except
simulate
they're not in the
like
snow,
game
there's
hunting?
mats.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe a skeet is like a type of bird or something.
Probably. That's probably where it came from.
Yeah, that would make sense. Stupid bird name. Yeah, esports in the Olympics. Not a thing. Shouldn't be a thing.
No.
As we've always said about this, you just need to have the E-Olympics. That's what all the need to have.
Yeah.
Just make your own one, and then you can have as many different vague not sports as you want.
Or actually just come up with a physical video game of some kind, like, I don't know, Whack-A-Mole.
Well, now you're talking about like basically having VR Olympics. You do all the Olympic sports just in a VR simulation of the real world.
So that to me actually makes a bit more sense. Like you're getting there. Yeah, like you could do VR archery, sort of. Except the whole thing about archery is managing the tension, but moving on. Valve are making a game. They've announced a game.
Yeah, a card game.
Yeah, it's a Dota 2 card game.
Is this their like Hearthstone then?
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
Well, actually, when I read the
card?
report, I wasn't 100% sure whether it was a video game or an actual physical CCG, but one assumes it's a.
No, I'm pretty sure it's a video game.
Yeah.
Is this for iPad or whatever?
I don't think they've said. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. We're making a video game! Oh, everyone's disappointed.
Well, people like Hearthstone. If it's as good as that, then.
But there's so many card games now.
Yep, everyone has one.
Yeah, but none of them as good as the Blizzard one.
Well, yeah, that's why no one cares. That's why no one especially cares about this, because it's like we've already reached the peak. It was the same as WoW, basically. We already reached the peak, and now everyone's trying to make MMOs, and then
Guess so.
they just
I'm
fail.
also not 100% sure that Hearthstone statement is considered to be true anymore, because I think people are a bit annoyed with the modern Hearthstone mechanics. Like,
Right.
their own expansions have kind of messed it up, and it's become less enjoyable. Like, more random has been added, more video gamey elements have been added that aren't possible, like
Right.
in a normal card game, and as a result, that hasn't gone down too well.
And is it that Hearthstone has all the Warcraft characters and shit as a base, so this one will have all the Dota characters?
All the
as a
Dota
base?
characters, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that means there's only 100 cards. I don't know how many heroes there are.
Well, the 100 hero cards, and then about 1 million equipment
Oh, the
cards.
items. Yeah, I forgot about that. All the items and the couriers, I guess.
So what's this game called again? Artifact or something?
Yeah.
Does that mean anything?
Well, presumably the artifacts in the items, yes.
Right.
You're winning the items of the heroes. Or maybe you're fighting over an artifact. It's also possible.
Because, Gwent came out not that long ago, and did the Elder Scrolls one come out yet? Was it Elder
I think
Scrolls
it
Legends?
must have done, right? Because they're making an expansion for Skyrim that they announced this year.
Yeah.
So the original must have already come out, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, what? They're making an expansion for Skyrim? Oh, no, an expansion to the card game for Skyrim.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I thought you meant they're making an expansion to Skyrim now?
No, I think they're done with that game.
I don't think they are, though, with that game.
It keeps coming.
It's going to be on Sheikah Slate next.
That's true.
But the other trouble with the Valve making a game is, like, the more you dig into it, the more it's like more people are even more disappointed. Because obviously, everyone was like, "Oh, they're making a game, but it's just a dumb card game that they're just milking more money out of people with, or whatever."
Yeah.
Isn't Steam a dumb card game?
Standard procedure. But then, like, when you actually look into it, the lead designer, I guess, is Brad Muir, the guy who left Double Fine to go into Valve, and this is his first game while he's been at Valve. Which kind of reinforces the idea that, like, Valve doesn't have any people who make games left.
Yeah, because
he moved in there, and then he's like, now we're making a game, and this will be, like, his only game, and then he'll stop.
Yeah.
Did he move there because Double Fine have no money or whatever, and Valve have tons?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe he actually thought that he could, like, exploit the Valve system of, like, letting you do what you want. Like, if I can move into Valve, I can actually make a game because they'll just let me do it.
I can actually make whatever I want without the restrictions of Double Fine.
No, you're making a card game.
You're making a card game, so we'll just slap Dota on it.
That is probably how it went.
Yeah.
Right? He probably came up with some mechanics and was like, yeah, so this could work. And then Valve were like, right, what IP can we slam on this? Oh, Dota's got loads of stuff that'll work.
I mean, he does also like Dota a lot, so maybe it was sort of a combo.
Yeah.
It's weird how that flat management structure results in no games from a games company.
Because when they sort of like not long after they implemented that structure, I guess it became not a games company.
Yeah,
and then just continued to that structure from then on.
In their defense, they do still work on Dota, right? Dota gets a heck of a lot of work done to it, and they're all their weird fantasy Dota that's built into the game now. They are actively developing stuff, and don't forget, this isn't exactly a major game, but at some point they would have had to have dedicated resources to build the lab as part of their VR initiative. And
Supposedly they're making 3 VR games, right?
supposedly, yeah.
Full games.
I don't know. I assume it's like what they learnt from making the lab is being used for that stuff.
Definitely is.
And they would have had to have built all the rules themselves for how Steam VR and some of it.
Yeah, I'm not saying they do nothing.
Chaperone systems would have done. They are actively in game development. It's just not in, well, I guess, what we would normally call a AAA title.
AAA. What's AA anyway?
AAA. It's a battery.
When did that term AAA appear?
AAA. And why is it AAA as well, and not just A?
Yeah.
Do they just borrow it from like loans or whatever?
Right.
Oh, do you reckon what
Credit
like a credit?
rating.
Yeah, credit rating.
Huh. Yeah, that could happen.
Because you essentially have to spend a shit ton of money in order to make a game that good.
Yeah, fair enough. Doesn't stop people.
Maybe that's what it is. Like, as maybe as you say, the amount of money you spend is exactly that. Like, there was a point where it was just A tier, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger in terms of how much money you had to put into it to make a top class game. We need more A's. Sooner or later, we'll just get S rank games. It's the natural evolution.
It's the S rank. GTA 5 is now S rank.
AAA plus. What else is going on? Dan used to talk about The Long Dark being good, and now that's out.
Yeah, it's good. It was good.
Now after how many years it's been since that box
I got fucking killed by that wolf in the power plant over and over again. Bastard.
I'm pretty sure it's a couple of years, since we last covered it on.
I wonder if they've patched that. Probably not. You're like, oh, this looks safe.
Well, it's got story mode now.
Story mode?
It's got a story.
Okay.
And they're releasing it episodically. And there's episodes 1 and 2 are part of the launch.
So it's still not actually finished.
No, but I guess. I think they're done with the main sandbox stuff. It's where they wanted it to be. And they've added the story mode, I think, as a way of introducing players to its concepts. But apparently, I've heard some of the logic of how things respond in the storyline is a little different in spots to how it works in the sandbox. Sometimes to be, get a point across, I guess, and sometimes to be introductory. So, yeah. Might have some surprises, I guess, if you go from the storyline into sandbox. But the general consensus is that if you want a sandbox survival game, this is the game of the moment for that. If that's your bag. I mean, there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, it was one of the... Well, it was the one that I played, so I thought it was pretty good. It takes a bit of getting used to that style of gameplay. But it's quite interesting.
Yeah. The time investment seems quite
fairly
epic.
If you want to actually not die and
do it
right, then you need to figure out how to do it, which takes quite a while. But experimenting and dying quite a lot.
Game releases. Speaking of game releases, Lawbreakers. Very quick mention, not really news, I suppose, except for the fact that it doesn't seem to have done very well. As in, critically, people seem to enjoy it and say it's a real fun arena shooter, sort of hero shooter. It has that going for it, but with the speed of Unreal Tournament and the new gravity things, and it's generally quite good. Apparently not selling. As the player counts on Steam are very low.
What games can you play that have a healthy player count in general? Overwatch.
Overwatch, Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike, yeah.
Titanfall has never had big numbers, but it's always been enough for me to play.
Does it have enough? Titanfall 2, if you go into that?
Yeah, I've never had a problem joining games.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, no, wait, sorry. Last time I did tinker with it, you could play the main playlist, but the other playlists were all empty enough where that was problematic. So you can still play a game of Titanfall 2, just not specifics.
I guess you'll find on whatever latest COD is on the console, right? Is that the one?
I think most of the Call of Duties you'll still find.
Right. So you could play Modern Warfare 2 and be alright.
You can still play Black Ops 2.
Right.
You can still play Black Ops.
And be fine.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah,
Halo?
that'd be-
Does anyone play Halo
Halo
anymore?
5's still fine, I believe.
Mm.
Still big enough to run championships and things.
Cool.
TF2
still has some players.
Filthy casuals.
They're all filthy casuals.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many shooters that are super dead. Unless we talk about Monday Night Combat again. But, God damn it. I mean, even the action MOBAs are still doing well for themselves, like Smite, and if you want to count those in this bracket, like Smite, like what's the other one I'm thinking of? Paragon, Epic's one. Don't know what's happening with Paladins or Gigantic, whether they're doing all right. Oh yeah, Gigantic came out. I should probably play that at some point. Free to play, so why not? So why not?
Give it a try.
It's free. Give it a go. I like its art style. Might be worth a punt. No Man's Sky patch 1.3.
What's going on with No Man's Sky, Zeg?
They're making it more like the game it was meant to be. Very
Good.
slowly.
Well, that's the plan.
Apparently this
1 year later.
Apparently this patch is bigger than the original game was, so
Wait, what?
In terms of
that
what?
file size.
Wow.
Because it was all generated, right?
Well,
So-
yeah, I guess. So that implies they're actually putting a lot of stuff in it. Or it's overwriting, I guess. I guess that doesn't actually mean it's making it bigger.
It's got giant space freighters, crashed ships and
Yeah, the
stuff. now.
freighters were from like one of the previous patches.
Mm.
But I think they weren't fully functional, really, or at least not in the way you'd want them to be.
What would you want them to do?
It sounds like you couldn't really control them so as directly as you'd need to actually make them that useful. Well, I know what you really need them for. I guess it's for shipping the larger quantities of stuff around to make bases, maybe.
Right. Hmm.
Or if you just want to hoard, the classic tactic. But yeah, I mean, the main thing that was momentarily interesting when I watched the announcement trailer was like they said that they'd done work to like some of the graphics, like the rendering of the terrain and like the different grass and different trees and stuff, and I was like, it does look different from how I remember it, maybe, but then I barely remember it.
But you're not quite sure why it's different.
It's like it looked better, but I don't know whether I'm just misremembering what it actually looked like, and would it actually look like that if I played it again? Or was that just a particularly nice looking area that they happened to be in? The classic problem.
Oh right, yeah. I see what you mean. So I guess other bullet points is they've supposedly overhauled parts of the story. There's now random mission generation if you need the game to tell you what to do.
Well, I don't know if that's those. I don't know if those are necessarily part of the story, though.
No, random mission generation probably isn't. No, but what else have they added? Terrain deformation.
More than there already was,
Terraforming,
anyway.
Yeah, that other players can see when they come visit your planets. It's like someone's been here because they've spelt the word arse in hills.
Exactly. Giant penises for everyone.
Yep. Was it base sharing is now a thing, and joint exploration, which is their way of saying, hey, there's some multiplayer now. Which I'm not quite sure I understand exactly how that functions.
Well, it just means that if you go to the same place, you'll actually see the same things.
Does it mean because there's some amount of seeing other players now? Is that like you have to form parties to do that, or
Presumably. I mean, I would guess it's some kind of peer-to-peer server thing where it's loading you into one person's version of the world, so you all see the same thing.
Okay, so we don't know, but there's some stuff. I'm amazed they've carried on working on it.
What, given the negativity towards them?
Yeah, that they didn't just cut their losses and try and build something new. Like, are they really still making sales off of this? I mean, I know it's on sale right now for like 60% off, but
Probably are.
yeah. It's an interesting one. Like in the like I kind of, I don't want to wish ill on any developer, but them and Sean Murray clearly didn't handle themselves well in this one. So, but
No.
I would
People
quite
are
like
idiots
them.
in terms of hyping it.
Yeah, exactly. I would like them to make good and to produce something better. Honestly, no one wants to see a studio go under. But at the same time, this might have been one of those games that they could have just let go under. Well, maybe that's exactly the reason. Maybe this is their business play. Like maybe they haven't made enough sales off it because of all the bad press, and then they're like, "Oh well, maybe this is our way of recouping some money."
Yeah, but you're still spending money to continue to work on it.
Yeah, like a whole year of continuing to work on it. That's not cheap.
I'm sure they did okay. Quite a few people bought it. You bought it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It seems like they might have done okay just from the initial sales, and then they probably could have just stopped and still been fairly profitable.
But then maybe, is there a marketing problem? Like, how powerful is the idea that if they had abandoned it, leaving that somewhat sour taste in people's mouths, that when they next made a game, that everyone would just be like, "Oh, it's those guys. Don't believe a word they're saying."
Well, they probably could have just shut down the studio and made a new one with a different name if they wanted to.
Oh, what, just rebrand
completely
it?
jib it.
Yeah, but everyone would see that coming. It's like, Sean Murray's got a new studio. Don't trust their games.
Didn't stop Peter Molyneux.
No.
No one trusts his games, so that's still the same.
Yeah, but everyone's still bought them.
21 cans or whatever. Haven't really done anything since whatever Goddess was.
They failed to make 21 games.
I made 2.
That stupid cube thing was so dumb.
At least that had an element of being novel to it, even if it was just a bubble wrap simulator with cubes. There's something to it.
Yeah, I kept thinking about maybe going back into No Man's Sky, but the trouble is that not in the patch, in all these patches, they haven't really fixed the one thing that I think is the most annoying thing, which is just like how incredibly boring, like upgrading the ship part, like the ship, the whole mechanic of how you have different modules in your ship and you just expand the cargo over time and all that stuff. It's just like, I mean, everything else might be interesting, but when that's the main gameplay is getting the upgrades for your stuff, like the gun and the ships, and it's just like it's not really a system, as I previously talked about. It's like that's still the bit that'd be kind of boring in the end. It's like what are you even building a base for? Presumably just to get resources to do those upgrades. It's just like
maybe, or to build up the other vehicles and trick them out, however that works.
Yeah, it's like if the ships actually mattered in any way, then it might be more interesting.
Yeah, well, yeah, and also like just when you upgraded things like storage capacity, a bit of me was thinking, well, it's like no, you can't upgrade your storage capacity without it having some kind of visual impact or some kind of weight impact.
Why the different ships should have been different.
Yeah,
because you should have had the bigger ships have more storage and have different slot layouts.
Exactly, or unless you introduce a weird mechanic where like you're like you've had like a like a warp zone storage inside your ship, but in order to keep that running, you need to stay powered. Otherwise, like you lose all your gear or something if your ship runs out of juice at any point.
If your ship runs out of juice, you're just basically screwed anyway.
You can get stuff to power it up.
Yeah, but that's not really a like obstacle. That's just what you're doing anyway.
No, but I guess. But yeah, but they could have added that as a sort of some sort of mechanic to it, and maybe that's not that effective. It's like, yeah, you've got a warp in here, but yeah, be careful. You can lose some stuff from time to time, or it might come out mutated. So you have to fight it. I don't know. Got some mutated guns. No Man's Sky.
It's a video game.
Somehow
Of
still a
sorts.
thing. I think the only other bit of news I've got is that Overwatch are adding a deathmatch mode. Which is a little weird, I guess.
Are they?
For a hero shooter, yeah.
Weird.
I would assume it's TDM and not straight DM, but because I don't know how you would make a straight deathmatch game with how its characters work.
No, you probably couldn't.
because you couldn't play Mercy and do all right. Yeah, so that's an interesting one. I don't know how that. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure I can remember a class-based shooter just having straight up deathmatch. I mean, it must exist somewhere, but not in the modern run of hero shooters. You know, because they never did it in well, unless you consider arena mode in Team Fortress the sort of deathmatch mode.
That was still team deathmatch though.
Yeah. And also the summer games are back. So I should probably play some more Overwatch and get some skins. And see if I can actually see the new stuff that was added before. I still haven't seen that moon level. I've only ever, it came up,
the moon level.
It came up once as the background for like the main menu. And that's all I've seen of it. Like I've never actually got into a game of it. Which is a bit of a bugger. I want to see what that's like.
It was weird that after getting ahead of talking about stuff that we've been playing, but after the Splatoon Splatfest where they had a new level, it didn't immediately come back into the game. It's not been added to the rotation.
Yeah.
So like maybe they weren't done with that. Maybe that was actually like secretly testing.
I think they did do that in the original. Like as in the original level, the levels turned up in Splatfest as an introduction, and then were tweaked slightly,
and then put into rotation.
You forgot one more bit of news.
Did I?
Yeah, that Sonic leaked.
Oh yeah,
Saladcast.
yeah. People
Leaked.
Amazon sent out copies early, apparently.
Oh shit. Oh well.
Only a week early. And then the other thing that was confusing to me, that confused me when I was talking to Rob about it, is like it does come out next week, but not on PC because the PC version got delayed to the 29th.
All right.
But we'll totally be playing that.
Surprise!
Might have to get that on the Switch.
You can now buy Res on PC.
Oh yeah, that was the one I missed.
Res
I
Infinite,
missed that.
in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprise Shadow Drop release.
Surprise! Get it on Steam, and you can play the VR mode on your Vive or your Oculus or whatever you have.
Yeah, makes sense. They made a VR focused game. Only came out on PSVR prior. So you were doing a current run of supporting PC. Why not?
Very nice. So I'll probably be getting that. Well,
It
just
seems-
have a copy of it. I know that the platform form won't go obsolete.
Yeah, and it's the definitive version. And Digital Foundry have done their thing and checked out that it goes to obscene resolutions.
With downsampling, or no, what's it called? Super sampling.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's downsampling, isn't it?
Yeah, same thing, really.
Yeah. Or if a monitor of that caliber ever exists, we're sorted.
Well, Code of Japan, they have 8K monitors, don't they?
I guess. Oh well, yeah.
Super high vision.
Super high vision. I've only ever seen it in projector form, not in
Right.
actual
Yeah.
screen form.
Like rear projection, is it? Or yeah.
Yeah, effectively. Well, no, my projector. I
Right.
actually don't know.
Hmm.
I suppose it doesn't matter whether it was rear or forward. It's a projector.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the quality of digital cinema projectors? Are they 4K or are they 8K?
I think it varies. I think like you can get 8K ones, but I believe the majority out there are 4K.
Right.
But actually, not a surprising amount of film is actually only done in. Is actually only presented in 2K, which is
Really?
1080. I think that gets mentioned occasionally on the film podcasts I listen to.
That's bizarre.
Yeah,
I can't imagine seeing a 1080p video on cinema. That must look pretty grimy.
Yeah,
The
I wonder-
screen's fucking massive.
Well, I wonder if they do something to it, or like the source is that, and then there's
Because theoretically,
It's
4K
post-processed.
is the same, theoretically, roughly the same quality as a 35mm film, right?
in theory.
In theory. So I just saw Dunkirk in 70mm film, which would be 8K equivalent res. That was pretty good.
We saw it in regular ass 4K.
Yeah.
Not even in IMAX, we saw it in regular.
Yeah, I saw 70mm film in Leicester Square Odeon.
Nice.
Yeah, so it wasn't IMAX, but it's pretty good. I've seen 3 films in 70k there now.
70K?
Sorry, 70mm. because I saw Interstellar there, which was in 70mm, which I didn't like very much. And then the other one was The Hateful Eight.
Oh, right.
That was in 70mm. Super Panovision or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the... I can't remember what The Hateful Eight was. It was a Western, wasn't it? Or
Yeah,
some kind?
Tarantino Western. Western.
Yeah.
The one where...
Yeah, the one where it's basically another one-scene film, effectively.
Well, two.
Sort of, yeah.
2 seed, I suppose. Yeah, there's a long bit in a cabin. Yeah. Watch that again. That was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I missed that one.
Oh, it's not bad. Yeah.
I missed it. And I think that's all the news I've got. I guess like a Slime Rancher finally came out. That's not news. I might play that eventually, but because it's on Xbox Live Gold at the moment. So grab it, get yourself some slimes.
And that's the news.
And Industry Giant 2
is available on Xbox Live, apparently. It's only £32.
Oh my god, it's what a ridiculous thing.
Except you have to get the expansion for another £8.
So you don't have to get the expansion, because even from what I never had it, but from what I read about it, even at the time, I was like, that's not
worth it.
That's not good enough.
Right, what you been playing? Say what you been playing.
Well, not all that much, I guess. I don't know. It seems like another couple of weeks where I haven't been playing much, and then I'm like, what the fuck was I doing?
What were you doing all the week?
The classic problem.
How have I spent my time?
I have those weeks. I guess it's just YouTube a lot. Some days where I'm just like, I go into a hole, and it's just like, oh shit, I accidentally watched all this shit for like 5 hours straight.
Nice.
And then I feel like actually physically bad, not just like mentally bad. I'm like, oh man, it's like if I ever get into reading a forum for like a couple of hours, that makes me feel physically bad as well. I'm like, oh man, I've got to stop reading this text.
You could do that. I don't think I could like maintain interest for that amount of time on a forum.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's not really necessarily maintaining interest. You don't realise that it's not that entertaining until you realise it's been 2 hours. You're like, wow, that time went past really quickly because I wasn't really entertained by it. I wasn't paying that much attention, I guess.
Quite easy to browse Reddit for 2 hours without stopping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or certain image tracing websites.
Imgur.
Yeah.
Imgur's just like piggybacks on Reddit though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Originally, I don't understand how that managed to make its own network out of. Originally, it was just image hosting that worked.
It's just because it's easier to post comments about an image rather than having to have a thread that implies like more complicated discussions usually.
Right? Yeah. That's true. Imgur comments just in a straight line then. Like YouTube style. Oh, YouTube has replies though, right?
Yeah, it does have nested.
Yeah, Imgur has nested replies as well, and it has like a rating system, so like high rated comments go up, I think.
Same as Reddit.
Usually. Right? So yeah, basically.
Well, YouTube now has that, doesn't it? That's a bit weird.
Well,
I like this comment.
Yeah, YouTube has its like very specific comments.
But
like,
all of YouTube comments are universally shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
I dislike this comment.
That would be a more useful tool.
Well, YouTube has that too.
Well, yeah, but not.
It doesn't really get used. As
yeah, not in the same way. It's not like a plus and minus system exactly.
No. Downvoted to oblivion.
Yeah, exactly.
So games though.
Yeah, games. The Rocket League tournament final still hasn't happened. That should happen before the next podcast, in theory. We're finally going to get to that.
The final.
Yep. And we're replaying the people we beat in the semi-final.
Wait, what?
How does that work?
Because they went into the losers bracket and then they won the last game of the losers bracket.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it's rematch type.
Yeah.
It's in the bag.
Well, except not maybe, because we did have the lag match where we exploited our European advantage.
Sure.
Really?
Well, it's like we'd done it in a couple of the other matches where we just used European servers and didn't really say anything, and most of the time, and like some of the other teams didn't even mention it. But this team in particular seemed to have much worse pings than anyone else we played on the European servers, so it's like it was really obvious to us and them that it was really bad. So after the first match, we were like, yeah, let's move to a USD server and make this sort of more even. Because evidently you're far enough away from the US East Coast as well to make it a closer balance between the things.
Did it work?
Yeah, and it was a more even fight in those other matches, but we still actually won all of them. So it wasn't a problem. So we'll see how that actually goes. And, in the actual final, you've also got the West Coast involved because Giant Bomb will want to stream it, so they'll have their spectator in there as well.
From the West Coast.
But we're presumably still going to manage to be on an East Coast server at least. So we'll see how that looks on the stream to them, I guess. Because they'll have West Coast to East Coast lag, and then the people we're playing will have mid to East Coast lag, and then we'll have Europe to East Coast lag. Everyone will be laggy, basically.
Brilliant.
So we'll see what happens there. It's still not actually sure what day that's going to happen or anything. It's just like sometime in the next couple of weeks. Solid organisation as always.
How can they not schedule it?
Well, in all the other matches, you only were scheduling it between the two teams.
Oh, I see.
It wasn't being streamed or anything like that. It was like, when can you form a time when you're all available? But then, obviously, for the final where they want the streams, it's like now you have to be a little bit more like flexible in when you're going to do it. Like we might end up playing after midnight or whatever, which is not a problem for me.
Of course not. That's ideal for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's when I normally be playing Rocket League anyway.
Rocket League After Dark.
Yep. So there's that.
It's a new brand of mint flavoured confectionery.
Indeed.
I don't think
It's just a rip-off of After 8, isn't it? After Dark.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, After Dark.
I don't think I've played much else on the PC, I guess. Even though it seems like I should have. I mean, I played some more Minecraft-y stuff. Got to the point where my second attempt at the Sky Factory got laggy again. Only that was much earlier on in this time. It's like maybe I'm starting to narrow down what it is that causes the lag. And it's like maybe it is these specific machines. So maybe I need to look in the shit ton of mods and see if there's an alternative machine I can use to do the same thing. Because that is the thing about that mod pack is it has an in-game item, the achievement book, which tells you do this and then do this and then do this. Except it's not specific really. It's like make a cobblestone generator, but you can make a cobblestone generator in the traditional Minecraft way, where you just have water and lava flow into each other and cobblestone appears, and then you just mine it. But then there's also an actual item called a cobblestone generator, which is basically like that but contained within one cube, and you just place it and it just makes cobblestone.
Okay.
So it's that's what that actually means. So it's the same with a lot of stuff where it's do this thing, and it's well, if I type one of those words into the search box, it brings up 10 different items that are all called more or less the same thing from different mods at this pack. It's which one of these should I use? Try them all and then see if one of them is much cheaper, basically. Like when you find one thing that runs on energy and one thing that runs on no energy, and you're oh well, I guess I'll use the free one because that'll make it much easier. Won't have to run power cables all over the place. So yeah,
You think the achievement book would just tell you where the achievement comes from, what mod it belongs to? Or is it not that easy to tell when you're in game with several mods running?
Well, also I don't think some of the achievements in the achievement book are trying to be specific. I think they just do it whatever way you prefer.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, it's if you don't, and all that then runs into the problem of sometimes the things aren't called the same thing. Where it's just you can search for, if you're looking for automated farming and you search for farm, it's you might get the farming station, but you might not get the crop harvester.
Oh, I see.
So you kind of at some point just have to look through the entire unfiltered list of everything that's in there and be what do these blocks even do? Try and work it out just from the name and maybe the tooltip text if they have tooltip text. If the mod has been kind enough to properly label everything. So yeah. And then I also...
Does that mean you could build a brand new convoy harvester?
Not
and then give someone the key?
Not exactly. You make a harvester of some kind.
Why not?
And you can have keys. but the keys are for drawers.
You couldn't use it to lock use a key to lock a door then, and then, like on your combine hamster,
No.
and then have someone drive it over a field.
It's weird. I don't think I've ever seen a Minecraft mod that has like lockable doors. I think that would be something that would be quite useful for like when you're in multiplayer situations. I mean, that is one of the types of key that you can use for the drawers, which locks them so only you can access the drawer, which kind of makes sense. And there are like personal chests where it's like only you can access the contents.
And couldn't people just destroy the chest?
Maybe, but so even then you get another layer where it's like, no, it has protection where only you can destroy the block.
Welcome to my private quarters. I've entered a lockable door, so you can't get in. Huh? Oh wait, you just dug your way in.
Well, yeah, that is the kind of problem with protecting shit in Minecraft, where you're just like, how many layers of protection do you need? At a certain point, you're at like server admin protection, where it's like, no one can destroy these blocks. But it's like built into the mod, so you can just like point at a block and toggle it. And it's like, well, now if you accidentally lose access to your mod privileges, you're fucked. And that also applies to like enemies, where it's like these type of enemies that can destroy blocks. Is like now we're having to come up with different kinds of blocks that certain enemies can't destroy, so that they don't destroy the world by being spawned in by griefers or whatever.
Oh right, of course. I forget like. Randomly create stuff as well as just moving it about.
Yeah. So yeah. And then I also played another save file of Minecraft where I was like, let's go back to an actual sort of Minecraft world with only a few mods again. So I played a little bit of that. But I kind of lost interest in that almost immediately because it wasn't modded enough, I guess. I need a certain amount of complexity. Like every time I've tried to actually finish Minecraft for real in unmodded Minecraft, and I'm like, this is kind of boring. So yeah, there was that. And then apart from that, I guess I played some Splatoon, but not even that much of that really. I played it more last week when in the run up to the Splatfest, and then the Splatfest at the last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
How did that go for you?
It was all right, except I've, pretty much every time I've played Splatoon, I've just been annoyed by the team balance being terrible.
So you can never seem to get on a balanced match.
Yeah, it's like, I don't care if I lose if the game was even, but it's not. I mean, I don't really care that much if I lose. But it's always exasperating to be like, what was my team even doing?
In a weird way, that is actually sort of one of the core problems with Splatoon's like super casual approach to multiplayer, with the lack of chat and stuff like that, as almost being the standard. That and although you always had the map and you can see where people are spraying and stuff like that, there's always an element sometimes when you lose of like, well, what bit of ground did you spray?
Yeah, and it's like because of the way that game plays, you're most of the time not next to your teammates even, so you don't even see them for most of the match.
Yeah.
It's just like they were off somewhere doing something, probably, or maybe they were just standing in spawn, who knows?
Yeah. Maybe they were off behind enemy lines doing sneak attacks.
Which then all got erased in the last 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Standard procedure. So yeah, but I think I maybe prefer just playing Salmon Run, but that's not going to last that long.
It's relatively limited, isn't it?
Yeah,
Salmon Run. So
it gets boring in its own way because there's only 2 maps and there's only so many enemies. Although apparently in a patch at some point they made it so that the difficulty could increase further than it could.
It's already pretty hard, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But I guess they must have been recording the data and been like, wow, look at what percentage of people have already made it to max difficulty. Why don't we just let them go even higher? Although at a certain point, it's like, how many more enemies can they even spawn? It seems like the map and the higher difficulties is like pretty much completely covered, and like you've got so many boss enemies that it's already ridiculous. You can barely handle it. You're having to prioritise which ones to kill, and people never get that right, I guess, because everyone has their own ideas about which one to prioritise, and that leads you to going too far by yourself and getting killed.
Which are the ones to kill then?
I don't know. That's what I mean. I guess it also kind of depends on what weapon you have, which ones you personally can prioritise. which then can lead to its own problem where you're just like, why aren't you guys killing that thing? I can't do it, but you guys need to go over there and kill that, please.
You're the one that can actually shoot that tentacle in an awkward place.
Yeah.
Well, not tentacle, whatever the salmons have.
Salmon fins.
Salmon things.
Salmonids.
Yes. I always think that it should have been salmonoids.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Salmonoids.
Salmonoids. But yeah, played quite a lot of that, relatively speaking. But now it can get even more difficult.
Shouldn't they have been salmalings to fit in with the everything else being? I suppose they're not. I suppose they're not really humanoid.
No,
like,
they're not they're actually like fish.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. No. Okay. I'm on board with salmonids.
Because it's like the Octarians and the Octolings.
Yeah.
They're different for some reason. However that works, not specified.
Do I explain why the Octoling host is there?
No. There's one page of the lore that shows that she did a concert for the Octarians, presumably before she turned to the other team. It's like, oh, she was part of that society.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a mystery. And there's also a bunch of pages about Mini Judd.
Yeah.
He's seems like from the lore of that he's just another clone of Judd. Like literally, it's the exact same cat.
Right. So this world has cloning then?
Well, not really. It's like it's implied that the cryopod that Judd was in also like had like a cloning embryo of him as well.
Yeah, right.
So it's like you can also, if you're lonely, have this other cat that's also you.
But one day, this still means cats will be extinct.
I guess. And then you have the mystery of who is Mr. Grizz, the Grizzco guy.
Or the rock, or whatever the heck that thing is.
Well, it's the bear statue.
Yeah.
It's a grizzly bear. Hence Mr. Grizz.
Well, I could never really actually make it out when I've been watching over your shoulder. It just looks like a brown lump
Yeah.
that jiggles.
Not very. It's the classic Japanese. We saw it in the Kazmari video.
Oh, right.
That bear
thing.
statue on the girls' desk in school.
Okay, yeah.
It's that exact. I mean, I'm sure that must be just significant in Japanese culture somehow that
Maybe.
we're not aware of, because it's the exact statue, and it's like, well, that must be famous that we don't know. Because why do you have to collect all these salmon eggs? What's up with that?
Yeah, what's it even for? Are they powerful in some way? Are they like zapfish? Are they... What do they do?
I don't know why, but like sometimes when I start the game up, the zapfish isn't on the tower. Because it's like once you save it, it's meant to be on the tower, but sometimes it's not.
Oh.
Don't know why. It's meant to hang out there.
You save it by finishing Silver.
Yeah. Except it's not even really referenced. It's just like you're doing this whole thing to save the zapfish. You save the little mini zapfish things, whatever the fuck those are. And then at the end, it's just like it's just kind of implied that you saved the big one.
Oh, right. So you
Because
never
the last
see
boss
it.
has nothing to do with the giant zapfish or anything. It's just like you're defeating the leader of the Octarians or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that sort of happens in the first game as well.
Yeah. It's just like the zapfish was somewhere, I guess, and then you rescued it.
It came back.
Or maybe all the small ones combined into it somehow. Because it's also implied when you're doing the fights against the Octolings that the 8 mini zapfishes in that level somehow combine into like one regular small one. Who knows what the zapfish biology is like? Where do those come from? What mysterious mutated race are they involved with? It's obviously some kind of catfish. Because you can see from the large zapfish,
Yeah.
it has the whiskery bits and all that stuff.
Don't some forms of koi just have that? Or like carp?
But some forms of catfish also have electricity,
Oh, okay.
so that makes more sense, I guess.
Carp cat?
Yeah.
Cat carp?
So that, Dan played some Splatoon as well because he's got it, and we played like 1 or 2 matches of local, which was weird.
Which didn't even work in the same room.
Because of connection problem.
Well, the first one worked perfectly fine.
Well, it occasionally said
Connection trouble.
trouble or something.
You've
Unstable.
got troubles.
Connection unstable. But yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
works. Yeah.
And I want to play more of it in local before you leave because I want to find out what the mysterious 1 out of 8 unlock is that you get. There's some kind of unlock tree. I mean, there's a reward tree like there is in normal Salmon Run if you're playing Salmon Run. Where it's like after 400 points you get something. But there's also the mysterious thing in the shoal, the local multiplayer area, where it's like 1 out of 8.
1 out of 8.
What is that?
Page 1 out of 8. We just don't know.
Is that variants of game modes that you've played in the show?
It doesn't look like it because it does, like when it popped up after the match that we successfully finished, it looked like a kind of a stamp. Like it's going to stamp it off 8 times and then you'll get something.
But are there 8 different game modes that you can play in the show? Or...
No. It's only... Well, I mean, I guess you can play all the different ranked modes, but I still don't think that adds up to 8, does it? That's like 5.
3.
And then the Salmon Run.
Do they have... Because I doubt they have it because it was rubbish. But like the first game, there was some sort of just balloon popping race.
Yeah, I don't think that's in there. And then also finally got to find out what was going to happen about the end of the Splatfest and the Super C sales and all that stuff. It does appear to be exactly the same as the first game. And it turns out that I hadn't inferred correctly what the text was saying, and you don't get to re-roll the main stats of the clothes. The main stat slot is just fixed.
Okay.
The snails are just for re-rolling the secondary abilities that you've already unlocked or adding slots to clothes that doesn't already have full.
So is it like rather than the chunk system, is it like or the re-XP system you get from merch? Is this a just an instant re-roll when you use the snails?
Yeah, it appears to just re-rolls all the slots that are already there to something else.
Right, yeah, so it's basically saving you from going through the
leveling. Yeah. But it's kind of weird because I read a forum thread of someone complaining about it, as you do. Because apparently the brand of the clothes influences what secondary abilities it gets more often than anything else. So, like, you can't necessarily get the exact abilities you want just from randomly leveling up on the specific clothing brand. I mean, in some ways, you can then use that information to grind ability chunks. Like, if you get a piece of clothing that you don't necessarily like the look of, but on level up it has a higher chance of giving you the ability you want, then you could grind the chunks off that and then use the ability chunks on a piece of clothing you do actually want to wear. Theoretically.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
But yeah, they were complaining about how it's limiting you to things you might not like the look of just for the stats. The classic problem.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of stuck with that. But then, part of me, when it's that tied to the game, in some ways, it's like, if you're a really pro, I suppose you could look at the characters in the little intro and be like, all right, this guy's going to be doing this, he's wearing that. Well,
every time you die, it shows you what they've got in their slots.
Yeah.
So I guess you only have to die once to find out.
But if you're really good, you can just see it. I can see you wearing those headphones.
I mean, I did consider using some of the sea snails that I got to just add slots to some of the stuff that I thought was cool, but then it was just like, then I was thinking, I don't want to waste these without looking up what stats these clothes can theoretically get from that list. Find out the secrets. So then I didn't actually spend any, but yeah, I don't really care about that at this point. And I also don't really... This is the other classic problem with the stat system in Splatoon, where it's just like, can you even notice it at a certain point?
I think I always noticed the majors, but yeah, the secondary skills I was never quite sure.
I mean, the really noticeable ones in the major slots are the ones that are actually something that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah,
like the ninja squid and
I used to use ninja squid a lot.
And the like weird respawning mechanic ones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then you don't really want those.
The haunting. Yeah.
Apart from Ninja Squid.
Ninja Squid was quite useful. Having that silent ink trails effectively, or invisible ink trails.
Not quite invisible, but yeah. Reduced.
Heavily reduced. So yeah, if you're swimming about, no one can really see you. It's quite nice. plenty of times I've won a few fights by confusing people by swimming, and they thought I'd gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I'm just like, but if I just had the straight up stronger shot, straight up more damage,
Would that have been better?
Yeah.
Who knows? Kind of difficult to tell. I did watch a random video on YouTube of Splatoon 1
Right.
in a ranked game of like these super highly leveled people, of course.
Mm.
But their entire team had every slot on their clothes with faster running speed.
No, really?
So they were just like, just ran directly to the objective way before the other team could even get there.
Huh.
Brilliant. Seems like a good idea.
Huh. So what that when everything's like that, that's noticeable then.
Well, I guess.
Yeah. Because apparently the game did like a diminishing returns thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so if you stack the same slot with the same ability,
Yeah.
you know, that doesn't work to some, you know, it works, but not
works
as
less.
much as if you
Still
spread
more, though,
your yeah. If you spread your skills, you in theory get more of a boost
Yeah.
in general. But it's interesting that it could buff it that much that it was noticeable.
Yeah. It's like you have to see that to be able to prove that it works, I guess.
Mm.
To be able to be like, yes, no, those skills actually do add up, I guess.
But yeah, I wonder if the diminishing returns thing was is across different items of clothing as well. Like if you stacked mages,
only the 3 slots per item that diminish, or whether it's all slots.
yeah, it's not totally upfront about those because you can't see the numbers. I guess
No.
with the ability stuff, you can't see exactly what it's doing, which I kind of like because never in my time playing the game did I ever think things were unbalanced in the
No.
original Splatoon. It's like there was always a counter, and sometimes that was like, you know, you just weren't equipped to deal with a scenario. You didn't have the right crap, but it was but it still worked. It still was all right. You just wouldn't get involved with that particular player or that team. It's like,
exactly.
it's like, all right, I can't really deal with you. I'll try and stay out of your way.
And then the other thing that happened in the patch last night is they did put the umbrellas in, like I was complaining about before.
As predicted. And what was the one missing weapon?
Yeah.
Is it the only missing weapon for multiplayer that's in single player?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It was the only different weapon that you only got in single player. But now
Do
you
they seem like a viable multiplayer weapon? Like, because you didn't think it would necessarily work.
Well, the actual shooting part of it, where it just fires like a shotgun, is probably fine. But then the other features, I'm not sure have really that much use. Firing the umbrella off and having it leave a precise trail behind it can be sort of useful if you want to advance really quickly, because then it's like the roller situation, because you're creating an exact path of your colour ink, and it's moving faster than you do anyway.
Could it be really useful on more linear ranked game levels, for instance?
Yeah, potentially.
To just get somewhere. And also, you know, how effective is the shielding on that? Like, is that viable?
Yeah, I'm not sure about how useful being able to stop people shooting you is. Mainly because obviously while you're doing that, you can't shoot them. maybe you're going full Reinhardt and just being a distraction.
Yeah.
Shoot my shield while my teammates can get into a better position to shoot you.
Yeah. Which is fun. I do like playing Reinhardt and just being a shield wench.
Although
Which somehow, like, you're just stood there with a giant blue thing and occasionally swinging an axe around, which is where my Reinhardt game falls apart.
Yeah.
Because melee.
Yeah.
But yeah, just standing there being a shield wench is actually kind of... Somehow they made that fun. I don't understand why. Maybe it's just the satisfying sound of bullets hitting it.
Yeah, probably not as useful in Splatoon because you can't really shoot through your teammates. I find awkward sometimes, even in like Salmon Run, where it's just like I'm shooting something, but then I realise I'm not actually shooting it because my teammate's standing in front of me. Like move aside.
Yeah, I think that was always a thing. Because I think it's possible for you to have grenade bouncers off people as well, off your own teammates. Where it's like, oh no, that's not going to work.
Yeah. So that's that.
Splatoon.
And then Dan played it a bit as well.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got Splatoon 2, but I've been just playing the single player to get used to the controls, so I can't really report on the actual game. But it's quite a lot of fun so far. I put the motion sensitivity up to maximum, so that I only had to barely tilt the controller to actually look up and down. Seems to work for me.
Yeah, when I played it with your settings, that seemed
Pretty
suitable.
Good. Seemed suitable, yeah. So whack that up to maximum. I was playing with the Pro Controller, but it seemed to work the same, or just as well, when playing attached to the Switch. I mean, you'd have to tilt it quite a lot if you had it at a normal sensitivity when with the screen.
I still actually think they could go a step further.
Yeah,
and have even higher sensitivity.
I don't know what the limit is in terms of the actual controller fidelity, but anyway.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed to work. So just getting used to that, and I'll get into some regular matches and rank up so I can buy some shit.
Buy some crap.
Crap check. Yeah, that's the plan.
Some gums.
Yep.
Yeah. Where do you actually make your stupid picture?
What do you mean? The posts.
Yeah.
There's a red mailbox-looking thing outside the shops on the left-hand side of the street.
Oh, right.
Oh, right, because that's what it was on the original as well.
And how do you make them? Do you actually just draw them
Yep.
Yeah.
with the touchscreen?
Yep.
Alright, so.
So the people who do the really fancy ones will get like a...
Or one of those styluses, or there's weird ways you can hack it, basically, using
Really?
Oh, is there a hack technique?
programs outside the Switch
Okay.
to convert images into pixel art and then
Oh, but
dot
then
by dot draw it on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You still have to manually...
Well, no, you don't have to. There's automated
Oh, really?
dot by dot, like a dot matrix printer, but programmatically within a thing that you can then
Oh, weird.
chip into the Switch somehow.
Yeah, I wonder how that works.
Right. That's a lot of effort to try and get an image into it.
Yeah, because I've heard people doing it by hand, and it taking a really long time.
Yeah, can't be bothered with that. Yeah. Splatoon. And is that you, Zeg?
Yep.
Cool. Well, I've been playing that. Also played Zelda. I did the the Divine Beast, the camel one, which was quite an annoying dungeon. It's okay.
Yeah, I've done
that. Three rings that you rotate.
Yeah, that was a bit...
Slightly...
the more I think about those dungeons, the more I'm not sure which one I hate more.
Yeah, it's funny because they're the only big dungeons in the game.
Yeah, I think
some of them
that
are
camel
good.
one might have been the most annoying.
The camel one was annoying because you just fight the boss in the main room.
In the room.
Yeah.
Which
Like,
is
it doesn't have a boss arena.
Yeah,
that
boss was quite the hardest one, probably, by far.
I think that might have actually just been the worst boss, though, as well.
It took me ages
Not
to
because
work out how to do the magnesis trick for the second stage of that.
Oh,
boss.
yeah, because I figured it out it was going to have... I figured out fairly quickly it was going to have to be a magnesis thing. But actually what you had to do and, like, to try and get it to stab them without him lightning them out of your control, like, you have to find the one that he put down last to give you the most time.
Right, to give you the most time.
And, of course, like, the arena is in that bowl
shape,
and it's like... or half pipe.
Yeah.
So, or full pipe, I guess.
Yeah.
And so it's just really awkward. Like, manipulating the camera was super awkward to get it to go with.
Quite a difficult one.
Yeah, I just thought it was bad. Actually, just mechanically didn't hang together. It's like, I get the idea. It just
yeah.
They just should have had a boss arena.
Fun.
Yeah, it should have had a boss arena like in the other ones.
Yeah, it was just no fun.
Yeah, it wasn't as good. But yeah, and the dungeon itself, there was one bit where I kept missing the stupid jump, and I'm not sure if I was doing it right. But you had to go into a giant rotating stone thing with two entrances carved into it and wait for it to take you all the way to the top then jump off the edge of the side of the door to try and get
I did it a very different way.
Oh, is there a different way to get to that?
Used a platform that I'd been standing on and rotated round to...
Oh, can you get to that?
Well, I sort of did the thing where you find a nook that you can sort of stand on and work your way around and then rotate it to lift it up so it's still in the right place to make the power connection, but you're quite high up.
Yeah,
and then jump from there.
Yeah, because that terminal itself is pretty high up. Yeah,
because that's the one we actually have to do, just float through the doorway as well. Because there's one with like a little walkway on it that you can sort of catch at a low angle.
Yeah.
And then you're okay.
Anyway, I managed to figure it out in the end. So that one's fine. I mean, it looked cool when you're outside and it was stomping through the desert and stuff.
Yeah, that was neat.
Nice. And I quite enjoyed the sort of weird sand seal attack the feet bit. That was okay as those sequences go.
I found that kind of clunky as well because it was the sand seals were too difficult to actually control the speed of.
Well, yeah, because they have like a binary speed.
Yeah, they've got one super boost and one just slow.
It was too easy to just float outside the protection zone.
Yeah.
And they're like, I can't turn around to get back in this. Catch me up. Catch me. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I got the first 2 feet really easily, but then they kept obscuring themselves to get to the last 2. You had to basically leave the protection zone in order to get up to the feet and blow them up. Yeah, but that was fine. Yeah, so that means I've got like 99 shrines now, so I just have to get last few shrines.
Only one more.
And then I'll be good to go. I've got a whole bunch of open shrine quests, so I know where some of them are at least, for sure.
You got 99 shrines, but the remaining 21 ain't done. Yeah, okay, that works.
Yep, but they will be. Yeah, so... and I haven't seen any of those Yiga clan turn up yet, but I'm sure they will. Yeah. But yeah, carrying on with Zelda. We'll get there eventually. And that's all I've been playing, I reckon. Is that true? Yes.
Nothing but Switch.
Yep, nothing but Switch.
Nothing but Switch.
All Switch all the time. So I'm going to take over Zelda with some Splatoon 2.
Alrighty.
And I'll probably get Res.
And we'll probably get Res, yeah. Where it's like 20% off until the 26th.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But then there's always the question looming over my head is saying, but now it's on Steam. What about Steam sale price?
What have you been playing, Rob?
I've been playing a lot of things. I've been playing some game. So after we made that video of Deadbolt, I've played a little bit more of it since then. I've probably played about as much of it in terms of content as we did in the video. It just got quite hard, and I obviously wasn't playing it in the video. Zach was playing it, so I went in. I didn't actually replay those levels. I just went in
from there.
Yeah, and I find that game quite difficult. And that's intentional because it's got that Hotline Miami vibe to how it plays. You know, things you just die in an instant if it goes wrong.
And respawn immediately.
Yeah. And then, but you respawn at the start of the level. There's no like level checkpoints. You've got to do the level in one run, which does get a little bit irritating as the levels get bigger.
Yeah.
And as some of the behavior isn't always entirely predictable. It's mostly predictable. Don't get me wrong. It's like the enemies do seem to follow the same patterns. If you do stuff exactly the same way, the way they will react to it is the same.
Right. But Hotline Miami doesn't do that quite a lot.
No,
the AI in that is terrible.
But also like it's the subtle differences sometimes can make who hears what you do change, and therefore they will react differently and catch you out and sometimes like as the enemies get stronger in that game, they take more shots to down. Some of the more effective close range weapons start to feel a bit more random. Like there are times where I've used the shotgun, for instance, and just unloaded into a guy, and I know that a full shot is going to kill them. But it's like, oh wait, no, a single shard from this shotgun has mysteriously missed because of spread, and it's like, oh, now I'm in a lot of trouble. And it's like, there have been times where I've been right up in someone's grill and the shotgun hasn't been enough to down them, and it's like, well, great. Now I've got to replay this incredibly long level to get to that point again and have it hopefully work this time. Oh, it's worked this time. Okay, great. So there's a bit of that. There's also a bit of trial and error sometimes, just trying to figure out the route you need to take. But that's inherent to that style of game, I guess. It's like you can't always just figure it out. It's just it is hard. I kind of like its style. I like its music, and I like its premise. I think some of its mechanics are pretty dumb. Like basically, audio is always radial. It's not really room or open door based.
Right.
So it's like, people above the floor above you might hear something that's gone on where someone across the room might not have.
That's quite dumb.
Yeah. That gets quite frustrating because like sometimes you'll get caught out by someone potentially off screen on a different floor, heard what you did, and they've come down the door and just murdered your face. Like, because you don't really have a walking through the up and down the stairs animation. You just pop up and pop down, which you can use to your advantage in spots. Like I use it quite a lot to just lure enemies towards me. Like I'll pop up the stairs so they go oi, and then I'll go get in cover downstairs and shoot them as they come through the door.
Yep, classic.
And sometimes I don't think the knock mechanic is quite as long a range as you would want. The knock mechanic seems to be the one thing where it isn't radial audio.
Oh, great.
And it seems to only affect people in the room.
In the room, right.
Yeah, and it's... and And so when you try and use that to your advantage, like to be like, all right, no, I'll just use a radio and draw the guy from upstairs just behind this doorway, and like that'll work, right? And it's like, no, that totally doesn't work. But if you're willing to waste a bullet, you can sometimes do that to lure people.
Get them away.
You know, it's little things like you eventually come across an enemy where their soul isn't in their body, so you kill the body, but then you have to go kill the soul capsule, otherwise it will come back to life eventually. And you can't just punch those; you have to spend a bullet or use a melee weapon to destroy those. And it's like, well, why? I'm standing right next to it. Why can't I just punch this thing without having to waste a bullet if all I'm carrying is guns? You know, that seems like a slight oversight. But very slight. I'll give that one a pass. But otherwise, yeah, it's an intriguing little game. I do find it kind of interesting. I do find it compelling. I do stick with a problem until I solve it, despite all of that. And like I said, I think it's got a good soundtrack. I think it's got quite a good look, as basic as it is. Although, you know, my one complaint with the look is you spend quite a lot of time in darkness because you're turning off the lights as you go. And so, yeah, sometimes most of what you need to deal with is, you know, a bit murky. Which is a shame, because then it doesn't sort of highlight some of what's going on. You know, like the blood splat on the wall is done quite well. It, again, sort of quite Hotline Miami, but it's like, you know, with a bit of gravity physics going on. There's some... It sounds horrible, but there's some nice spray, like blood sort of... like entraily trails of like blood that goes across the room occasionally that are quite nice. And I wish they changed the button from going into vents to picking up weapons so it was on a different button, because it prefers to pick up a weapon rather than go in a vent. So if
and
you're
you want to escape,
it's like, I'm running away. Oh, I just picked up a hammer.
Then instantly died.
Yeah. And the levels where it surprises you with reinforcements can be a pain in the arse. Because it's like, oh, like 3 more cars full of people have just turned up, and it's like, oh, but there's no resources left on this level. What am I going to do now? And I didn't know that was covered. Yeah, but you know, for small scope indie game, it's kind of all right. Worth a punt.
Go and play Gunpoint instead.
I guess that might be better. It's a different focus, isn't it, Gunpoint? Gunpoint is more strategic, I suppose, than this.
It's sort of the same, except with Gunpoint, ideally you're not killing anyone.
Right. Yeah, where's this?
You're just trying to move around them by distracting
by holding them up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the main focus on Deadbolt, I think, is actually just time. Do the level fast. Yeah, nice, cool little thing. What else is going on? I think I've taken a little bit of a break from AG races, so I won't talk about that this week.
No more F-Zero?
You know, I did play a little bit of F-Zero GX, but still occasionally struggle to find the ideal way to play that on Dolphin. I tried running it through my TV, and the lag was weirdly noticeable when running it through my TV, and it's slightly less so when playing it on my monitor. So, yeah, that I sort of didn't. Maybe that's not the way to play it.
I found a GIF on my computer, which is an animated comic that Zach has made in the Weeble and Bob style, combination of his style and the Weeble and Bob style. But it was just you and Zach, and so it's like low Bob, low. You have F-Zero. Yeah. It was F-Zero based.
I do vaguely remember that. Just the low Bob.
Low. You have F-Zero. Yes.
Okay, good. Did that comic go anywhere other than that?
Of course,
mostly F-Zero based.
Okay.
So the joke is the concept, not the actual joke.
Right. I guess. What else did I play? Help me out here. Oh yeah. I carried on with my visual novel nightmare.
Yeah.
And I started playing the sequel to Fault.
Oh no.
Fault Milestone 2. Above.
Above what?
Don't know yet.
You'll find out.
I've only played like just over an hour into it. I will say one thing for it. The intro to this episode is pretty strong. actually, it puts a pretty interesting concept down that I assume will be forgotten and we'll move on to doing something else, as seems to be the way of Fault. Like here's the main story, Fred, in the intro. Now do something else for the remaining couple of hours. So I think that's where this is going. But it is presented a little better than the first one. Like, they do more stuff with the visual side. And there's a fairly neat trick in the promo in the intro that they do visually. A little bit reminiscent of Arkham Asylum. Let me say that. There you go. They do some stuff, which is cool. I was like, not expecting that. Well done. And they just the sort of elements of the presentation seem to have stepped up a notch, and it seems this time they're doing like a 2-threaded storyline where you're following one group and you're also following a different group throughout this. So that will probably help the pacing a bit, keep it a bit more interesting as you go through. So anyway, there's that visual novels still. Might as well carry on with
Might as well carry on. Classic.
So I don't think this is the end of the story, and they haven't finished the Fault storyline, and the next episode isn't a continuation, it's a prequel, weirdly. So I will probably not get satisfaction out of this, but whatever. It is what it is.
Just carry on and on.
Just carry on. Anime! In words! What's that?
Just soundtrack to visual novel.
Soundtrack to visual novel. It did have like a when the like main antagonist was about, there was that like some shredding guitar going on. It was gnarly. Actually, I'll give the soundtrack's kind of alright in that thing. So what have I been playing? I guess I only really want to talk about Nier.
Let's talk about Nier Automata then.
I'm only a few hours into it.
The JRPG/action game.
Yeah.
From Platinum Games.
From Platinum Games, yeah. That everyone has been talking about, that has a real interesting narrative for it, especially if you stick with it past its quote-unquote endings that aren't really endings. They're just sort of chapter... I suppose in a weird way they're like chapters in this game, I guess. Yeah, but, incredibly long chapters. So yeah, I'm a few hours into it. I think the combat plays quite well. It's interesting that they've basically taken the Bayonetta thing of you always have guns, but that's a viable strategy. That like just having your gun firing all the time and not getting involved close range. Yeah, if you want to, you can do that. Some of the time, like not many of the enemies are impervious to your bullets. And unlike Bayonetta, your bullets do a bit more damage here. So, it's a strategy. And weirdly, the game likes to go a bit bullet hell every now and then.
Yeah.
Like forcing you to use the bullet strategy. And, the game actually opens in a straight up shmup. Like, you're flying through the sky, shooting things. And that's how it opens.
Okay. Not what you'd expect.
No, not at all. The whole thing is actually just a series of surprises at the moment thus far. Like, when it goes into the hacking game for the first time, and it's like, what's going on? What am I doing? Oh, right, now it's a twin stick. Okay. It's kind of bizarre, but it's kind of cool. You beat the first boss over the head with its own giant mechanical arm. That actually visually looked a bit like how Bayonetta fights with hair arms, giant hair arms in some parts of some combos. Yeah, I'm kind of digging it. It's not perfect on the PC. There are some problems. Getting it to run occasionally is an issue, but that might be my PC, not the game. It has frame rate issues doing some cutscenes. Somewhat unnecessarily. There have been moments where there's not been a great deal going on screen, and it just suddenly grinds to a halt.
Loading or something.
Yeah, maybe it's a stream loading problem. Not sure, but then it always seems to speed up just in time for the gameplay. So that's a bit odd. Some of the dialogue is a little bit Japanese. Let's put it that way. It's a very Japanese game, right? It's got all the normal tropes, like occasional bit of voice acting, occasional bit of text, quite a few menus, very Japanese character designs. Sometimes pulling from Gothic Lolita, sometimes pulling from Metal Gear. It's kind of all over the place, and I kind of like it because it's all over the place.
Stylistically.
Yeah. So we'll see where it goes. I'm fascinated at the moment. It's just some real interesting things about it. Like the I was talking to you about this earlier, Dan, but the whole the plug-in chip thing is kind of cool in the sense that they don't just stop at your chips are just your abilities and just the power-ups and stuff like that. No, there's a chip for your HUD. Like every element of the HUD has a chip that if you want you can take off and free up a chip space. It's crazy. I don't want to see how much health I have. That's fine. You can do that. It's nuts. But it's kind of world building, You're an android, so why not? Although the option to remove your operating system, which causes you to die, is kind of dumb, but that's quite funny. It's just filled with that kind of stuff, just that silliness. It's also I don't think it's really that explained exactly. Your character 2B is very straight-laced, very on mission, very stuff like that. But every other android I've met in this thing seems to be kind of aloof, kind of goofy, or very filled with personality.
Yeah, okay.
Which is a little strange. It's but the androids are here to do a mission and they're here to do this thing, and then
but they have to be all goofy.
But then everyone's real dumb.
Okay, weird.
You're getting talked to by your operator. Who are the people in front of computers. Which is a bit weird for an android. An android sat in front of a computer being an operator. But all right, whatever. I'll go with it. But they've sent me emails about having their horoscopes based on Jupiter's storm spot.
Right. Weird.
And then describing it as a bunch of crap. It's they're androids. It's really weird. It seems to play with this a lot, which makes me think that this narrative, there's a number of it's signposting that the narrative is going to go in a very specific direction, or one of a few very specific directions, and it's going that way now. But
telegraphing it way in advance.
But I think that might be the trick, that it's telegraphing this stuff, and then there'll be
all a fake out.
Yeah.
Well,
given what people have been saying about this game's narrative, I don't think the obvious is exactly what is
going on.
Is where it's at. Yeah, so I'm enjoying it thus far. I do think the visuals are really nice in spots, but I think also very sparse in others. The first city you land in seems kind of plain. I don't know what happened to human history or something in this world, but the buildings they frequented were just rectangles and all the same. And yeah. The game purposely presents itself in a kind of washed out colour palette as well, which isn't all that appealing in some ways.
When playing, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's a look, but but I'm not sure desaturated is a particularly great look. It's like having the old school HDR filter turned on a little bit. A little bit. But there are some nice particle stuff going on. I think it's relatively easy to see what's going on.
They should have just made a chip for that.
Take out the HDR mode. Improve your vision. Well, one of the things the game does early on is it puts you through a maintenance routine and has you mucking around in the menu, but it's all guided, as if it was just part of your routine maintenance of running your systems. It's it makes you do a brightness check. And stuff like that. It's all right, but it all words it as in we just need to make sure your cameras are working fine, and your sensors are doing. And there's a whole speech recognition bit because this is all appearing as text,
right?
While you're mucking around with it, and then it goes, all right, we need to up your voice recognition systems, which then forces you to go to the audio options to turn up the voice volume,
right?
And then as you raise it, you can hear 9S your maintenance buddy talking to you and stuff like that. It's kind of neat world building. The menus aren't just menus. The menus are a part of you.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I like the cut of its jib. I really do. I hope it goes places. And I hope it doesn't drag, which I think is what's got some people down with something like the first 3 storylines sound like they might be a bit of a drag, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, cool thing. Cool thing. I'm intrigued. Not regretting my purchase yet.
I'm sure we shall hear more about Nier in the future.
Nier.
Any videos coming up?
So we've got another Katamari in the hopper.
No. Watch that on our YouTube channel.
No. Yeah. Part 3 of that is coming.
Put it in the content hole.
Put it in the content hole. Yeah. Fill your content hole with balls of crap. And what else we got? Oh, we also did Dead Core because we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves and thought we need to build up a bit more of a buffer zone. So we recorded.
Well, we need to have a buffer zone again.
Yeah, so we
We're all the way
recorded a bit
to D.
more. We're in the Ds.
You're 4 into 26. Wow.
But then, at the rate I buy humble bundles, that we'll be able to go back to A at the end of this whole route and still have stuff to do.
Of course, you'll be able to go around.
Regardless of the humble bundles, you'll just be able to do that anyway.
Yeah, there'll be games.
There will be games.
There will be games.
Right.
So Dead Core will be going up probably in a month's time.
So check that out, listeners. A month from now.
Yeah.
Which is the 12th of whatever the fuck the month is. August.
Yeah.
That was a callback to me fucking up the start of the podcast.
Hi-oh.
Yeah.
So I guess when I finish playing Deadbolt, I'll probably go and play some Dead Core. All the Deads.
Dead awesome.
Maybe.
Dead good.
Dead, yeah. Just dead. It's dead, mate. It's dead.
That means bad, though.
Well, it might be dead.
Yeah, might be dead.
I haven't said anything to the quality of that game. It might be dead.
We shall find out.
The cubes! Anyway.
Okay, that's the end of this podcast.
I think so.
Yeah.
Unless we've got any more hilarity to end with, because we're all in the same space. Normally when we're all in the same space, that creates extra hilarity, but I think we've all been lacking.
Indeed. Catch us next time for a more remote style of cast.
Yeah.
Normal service will be resumed.
Yeah, boy.
Thanks, guys.